Welcome to this channel where we explore all things mycology and so much more. From a single nucleus to cultures we create, experimentation and innovation is never too late. Join me on this adventure where follow science plays.
Thank you for joining me today. Well, we got our cultures in their test phase. The first showed growth was Mossy Creek mushroom. Mossy Creek mushrooms, Appalachian, Enoki bloom all out of the water. So I'm kind of rushing now, and it works out pretty good because we're going to use some wild bird seed. And usually I get rid of the sunflower seeds just because of the oil relation, and they're easier to contaminate. Sometimes it's just part of the process, so when I'm cleaning it, I just remove them because they float. I have some bags that I'll share with you that I haven't tried yet. And then we got some jars that are left over from another run that I didn't use, but they're all sterilized, so we can use those and not have to worry about sanitizing them because they're already done. Also, since this bag here weighs 10 pounds, when it's fully hydrated, I'm expecting maybe 18 to 20 maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but I like to do half and half. Half of a bag with 24-hour hydration and half of a bag 24-hour hydration with amended Dr. Mike's magical gypsum. And then, so we're going to be doing 5 pounds. It recommends 0.35 ounces per 1 pound of grain. So I already weighed out 1.7 ounces for 5 pounds of grain. So let's get our grains ready to hydrate. So we're back. It's been exactly 24 hours. I did, though, probably like 3 in the morning, 7 in the morning. I came out and just moved things around a little bit like that and just made sure everything was submerged still. What the hell? It's even got soybeans. That's a hard bean right now. So the next step, we'll move all this over to the sink, and then we'll add the amended to the blue pot and the unamended to the regular pot. Alrighty, so we're here at the sink, and now that I'm looking at those containers, that's gonna bring this level right up about here or so. So it's not gonna give me any room for the grain to expand, and plus it's a lot of weight on the grains in the bottom, and trying to move that much in the pan, I'll probably ended up breaking a lot of grains and doing more harm than good. So my option is I'm going to use a bigger pan. We'll run 2 pans for the bottom because it's not amended, and then we'll run this all in this pan because it's amended. And the reason why I'm doing it this way is since this one's amended, if I break this into 2 different pots, I could end up with differences. Since it's amended, we run it all in 1 pot. So that gives about an inch of water over the top. Let's add a little more water. Maybe the more water we got, it'll give it more room to circulate, but I don't want to dilute the amendments, the Dr. Mike, too much. But I also, so we got to find a balance. So yeah, we're about 2 inches above. So let's add this to the stove. Center this over the burner. And we'll put that on low. So let's divide this amongst the pans. We got some sediment down here. You know what? We're gonna rinse them. I don't know what it is. I wonder if that's from the shells of the sunflower seeds. I don't know, it kind of looks like rocks. There's a good look at it right there. See that? You know, we got a microscope. Is it metal? I don't know. But we will find out. So that's about 2 inches above the grain. We'll add this to the stove. So now we're back at the stove. We got our Dr. Mike magical gypsum in this one. We got just regular water and our seed over here, and the same over here in this one. And right now I got all these on low. So once we did our 24-hour soak, I'm going to simmer these and try to plump up the seeds without busting them or burning them. Because right now, these seeds, if you put them on a hard surface, they would still crunch. So we don't want that. We want to be able to soften up our seed
without turning it to mush.
by oversaturating it. The hyphal tips can get inside, and the easier we make it for the mycelium, the faster it will expand. We're going to try a little test. So over here, I have Dr. Mike's Amended, pan 1 and pan 2. Pan 1 is our blue pan. So I took a tablespoon of grain out of each one, and I placed it over here. So we can check our grains by taking a tablespoon out of our pan on the stove, and we can place it next to here, and we can compare the size of our grains. So I just go over here every so often and just agitate them. Get those grains off the bottom. Get them mixed in. We're going to bring up our temp up a little bit so they can catch up to this one. I really don't have a specific time. I let the grains dictate when they're done by observing them. So when we get our grains to our liking, we'll have to do a drying and resting transition, and we just got to make sure that we can't mix these grains over here with either one of these ones. These ones here, we can mix them back and forth because I'm going to dry these together, and then this one I'm going to dry separate. You can see, you can get some hulls and stuff like that floating once they get warm. So if you have a strainer, you can lift those particles off. Got another soybean. Starting to smell the grain now. Oh, we're good there. Let me double check. Let's get a big seed. Yeah, we're good. We gotta cool that one. I'm having a hard time with lighting, but you can see a lot more plump. So we're good. I'll cool down these grains really quick before we move them to a towel to start drying. So now let's move these to the towels. So here's the table. I got 3 towels laid across. Since the amended grains are done first, I'm going to use the center. And then if I have to switch out towels to continue drying, I can do that before adding the other 2 pots. So let's add our grain. Just move these around a little bit. So I checked my samples. We're ready to go with the next 2 pans. Wow. Using the cold water to shut down the cooking. So we'll let this drain out and then switch out our first batch. Even though this one's already went from one towel to another, there's still a lot of moisture. So I got quite a while to allow these to air dry. And all I'm going to be doing is flipping them back and forth, switching towels out. So I'll go through all this process and then I'll be back when it's ready to start jarring them. So we are at the tail end of our drying. So let's do a simple little check we can do. We got 3 pieces of toilet paper. Just going to grab my grains, throw those grains on it. And throw the grains on this one. Rub them a little bit and let's check them. About 3 or 4 dots. So I'm going to call it good. This one here could go a little bit longer. And this one's pretty good. So since this is our amended one, let's start working with our Dr. Mike first. I got my jars set up ahead of time. So what I'm going to do is while we're filling our jars and bags, I'm going to fill this up to the minimum fill line and then start it on the stove so we can start heating this water up, and that'll speed up the process. So now that we got our grains and our jars, let's figure out what we're going to use for bags. This package is from Shroom Supply. And what I did is I got some spawn bags that are 0.5 micron. And there's 2 different types of spawn bags. So I wanted to see which one I liked the best. Another thing they sent me was some new filter discs for jars later on. And this was something I was curious about. So they have these clips, and then instead of heat sealing your bag, you use these clips to seal them. So you could, and I was thinking about reusing my substrate bags, but I need to find I think it's a 3/8 rubber hose so I can split it and get these to work. I'm not sure if we're going to use them in this run, but we'll use them eventually. So we got our grain ready. So what I'm going to do, we'll start doing our jars. And what I plan on doing is we just do 1 pound jars. That should give us enough for a couple bags. So we put our jar on, tear it out. Oh, we got to tear it out with the funnel too. There we go. A little over. Alrighty. So I'm just going to burn through these quick. Now let's do a 2 pound bag. Wow. Right on the money. I like when a plan comes together. Let's start doing our non-amended. So we did a bag for Dr. Mike. Let's do a bag for the regular. Have enough for 1 more jar. So a 10 pound of bird seed gave us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 1 pound jars.
2 2-pound bags.
And that's subtracting the 2 pounds of sunflower seeds. So I would say we're hydrated. In my pressure cooker, I can run 7 jars the way I got it set up. But then I'd have to run a separate load for the bags. But there's twice as much grain in the bag, but there's also different thermal dynamics between glass and bags. So I got to make a decision. Do I want to run the bags by themselves and the jars together, or run 4 jars with a bag and then maybe place the bag kind of like that between the jars? I think that's what I'm going to do, and step up my time a little bit for this bag. So we're going to do, this is a run, this is a run, and we're going to do 2 hours each, 15 psi. When you load the jars, just make sure your lids are loose. And I'm also using vented lids. And then I got the aluminum foil to cover my filter patch. Oh, this fits pretty good. Let's make sure our lids are loose. Add our lid. We'll put our valve back on. Light the stove. So the last time we were at the stove, it was right around 3 o'clock or so. Now we're right around 6:30. And this is one of the reasons why I prefer to run popcorn. But I'm running a culture that I've seen grow really good on the millet. So this bird seeds run is going to put me in the ballpark. I'm going to set this at 10 psi. I'm going to allow it to come up to 10 psi. We'll vent any of the low temp air out, and we'll move it to 15 psi and run it for 2 hours. And I'll see you back here when we pull the jars. So we're on the countdown. 2 hours is done. We shut off our burner. Gotta allow this to naturally decompress. And once this is decompressed, we'll continue on with the next run. So now we're fully decompressed. So we can open the lid. And first thing we're going to do, tighten these lids, get that water off.
Topping off the water for the next run.
So we'll add our next jars. Put our bag in the middle. Make sure our lids are loose. So light our stove. We'll set it at 10 psi. Let it vent the low temp air. Move the dial to 3, which is 15 psi. And then run it for 2 hours at 15 psi. But now we got to take these jars over to the table. So we got our jars over to the table, and what we're going to do, we're just going to give them a hot shake. What I'm trying not to do is getting the grains up here and get stuck in the ship or whatever. So I'm trying to just try to avoid that much as possible. So I did find a tube to fit this, and I slid it down the center. So while this is still sealed, I'm going to fold it over and slide the tube down the side. And that there pinches the
Bag.
so I can add the clip to it. Then we'll squeeze out any excess air. We'll give it a shot. We'll put these together and let them cool down a little bit slower than room temperature by covering up a little bit. So they won't condensate in that bag as much. So, second run is done. So we'll shut it off and let this one decompress. And we started at 3 p.m. Now we're at midnight. So I'm gonna let this sit in here overnight and pull everything out tomorrow. Seal the bag, shake the jars. So now our second run is done. I couldn't sleep. It's 5 o'clock, so I was worried about the grain. So let's remove our jars. Tighten our lids. And then we'll move these over to the table. So now we got our jars at the table. We got the amended in the back, and we got the unamended in the front. This type of seal is holding up pretty good. But But in this one, I'm going to seal it with my sealer. So it's nicer with these bags because it's still sealed from the pressure cooker. Just going to flip it over. So I put a double seal on it. And then you see you got like all this moisture on the bag. And all I do, I just massage the grains a little bit. I don't really want to shake it or break it up. Make sure, if you're not going to use it right off the bat, make sure you get all these grains out of the folds. And then that way, they won't be trapped and possible contaminate. So let's give these a quick shake. And there we go. Tap our lids. And so all I'm going to do, combine them all together here in the middle. And just for the rest of the day, I'm just going to cover it until I'm ready to use it for later on. And that's our grain prep. So later on, we'll go to the next step of inoculating them and get our cultures ready for the tent. So we got our grain all prepped, ready to go for inoculation. It all turned out really good. I'm happy with everything. I'm looking forward to see what unamended with amended turns out. So they're all set, ready to get inoculated. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, please. If you want to reach out to me direct outside of YouTube, I have links in the description, and you can contact me there also. Please like, share, and subscribe so you stay notified. And I'll see you all on the flip side. Have a great day.